Okay, I'm going to give it to my colleague Amy Wattis to do some updates, and I'll be back with some of the latest weather information. Amy, take it away.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. You did a fabulous job with all of that. And now we are, like you said, we are following all of these warnings since early this afternoon, and we do have team coverage for our Weather Action Day, and Denver7's Brian Wang is keeping an eye on these roads. He's in Littleton right now heading to Highlands Ranch. And Brian, can you tell us what it's looking like out there?
Well, we started off at the station in downtown, traveled south on Broadway through Inglewood and Littleton, and the further south we headed, the more rain we saw, the more stop and go traffic we saw. We did get to the Highlands Ranch area. We know the tornado warning immediately over Highlands Ranch has been lifted, but we just merged on to E470 from Highlands Ranch. We are heading east towards Centennial Lone Tree, and as you can see, traffic is moving slowly here. It hasn't, not really a stop-go type of situation, but we're traveling between 20 and 30 miles per hour. You know, key here is to give as much space as you can, you know, with the car in front of you. We are seeing darker clouds in there, off there towards the east. We know that there have been reports of some funnel clouds in the area. We haven't seen any ourselves. We also haven't seen any hail yet, but again, the further southeast we go, we are seeing heavier clouds. We are traveling through more pockets of rain, and things are slowing up a little bit here on E470, but we are heading towards the Centennial Lone Tree area where a tornado warning has been extended to through 4:30. So traveling nice and slow here, Amy, and we'll be live for you guys throughout the show until the 5 and 6.
Bionic, follow-up question. Any advice to folks who may be headed out that direction at this hour? You know, you mentioned there's a tornado warning in that area and traffic is starting to slow down.
Yeah, well, we heard the emergency broadcast come over here, just giving folks traveling this way a heads up that there are tornado warnings. Obviously, CDOT, anytime there's any kind of rain or wet roadways, always suggest to just give as much space as you can between you and the car in front of you. Also, just traveling at a much slower pace. So that's what we're doing right now. You know, the roadways are pretty wet here. Let me see if I can actually get this cam. I've never used it before, but you know, probably about an inch of rain has dumped in this area so far, so everyone's dealing with some slick roads right now. But yeah, we are headed towards the regions where there are tornado warnings to see what the conditions are like there. I know Mike had some family kind of in the midst of where those warnings are, so you saw kind of the hail in that area. A little smaller than golf ball size, but there have been reports in other places that the hail is getting a little bigger. So we'll see what we find, Amy.
Yeah, we will see what we find, and hopefully the hail ends up staying small for on the road there, so they don't end up with any severe car damage. We don't want to see that.
No, yeah, we don't want to come back with a broken windshield either, so we're going to do our best.
Yeah, well, stay safe out there. Keep us updated on your travels, and hopefully it doesn't end up too serious in the direction you're headed. Now, we are going to go back to Mike Nelson. He's getting ready to go back on the air as he continues to follow this Weather Action Day for us. Hi, Mike.
This is a new view. Check this out from our exclusive Viero camera out at DIA, looking down to the south, right into the maw of this really powerful storm. So this is coming at us as we're looking at it. So what we have here is a perfect storm, if you will, for developing large hail and the possibility of tornadoes. The air is coming in from the east at the surface. It's being drawn up into this thunderstorm, and the skies farther east have been sunny. And so the temperatures there reached up the upper 60s to low 70s. That's warm, moist air being drawn up into the storm. As it goes up, it is being swept into the updraft area. That's the spot we're keeping a very close eye on for the possibility of the development of a tornado. That's why the warnings are in effect. Here, moving, that's going to go on. Last night, a tremendous light show. Tornadoes, moderate threat. If it was a little higher threat for us, large hail, that is a high threat coming up for the next several hours. So tornado warnings continue over the southwestern part of Arapahoe County, not all the way out toward Littleton. The heaviest weather is over southeastern Aurora and extending down into northwestern Elbert County. So these storms are going to continue to feed on this edge of the cloud cover. You see right here, that's clear skies off to the east of these storms. So as that easterly flow is feeding into it, being drawn up into these storms, that's where we're going to continue to see the biggest threat. We'll likely paint in more tornado warnings moving up through DIA and then heading up Rogan area, southern portions of Weld County. As I mentioned a little bit ago, that's the tornado capital of the United States. No other county in the last 60 years has had more tornadoes in the United States than Weld County. It's because we get these convergence lines of easterly winds and air coming off the mountains. The air collides. It can't go down into the ground. It's forced up into the atmosphere. It rotates into these thunderstorms. That can create the smaller, what we call land spout tornadoes. Today, though, we have double trouble because we have a strong jet stream aloft and a lot of circulation in the upper atmosphere. So these are all big rotating thunderstorms, and any of them could produce a tornado. I'm going to zoom that radar down a little bit closer for you, and we'll go through some of the communities impacted by this storm as it continues to move across the eastern part of the Denver metro area. The threat has diminished a little bit for areas west of I-25. The air there is cooler, and with that we have less instability in the atmosphere, but still not completely out of the woods. But this is mostly a beast of a storm now on the south and east side of the Denver area. So zooming in a little bit closer, we're talking about areas along Parker Road, and we're talking about areas on E470, and that will extend farther to the north, all the way through Aurora, right up to around where Buckley Space Force Base is, right up to the southern edge, Pena Boulevard, turning right into DIA. So most likely, it doesn't quite include the terminal at DIA, but areas just to the south of it, and that the DIA will be completely under a tornado warning, most likely coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. So Aurora, Centennial, Foxfield area, Wheatlands, Reunion. Also talking about the new Aurora Highlands development right up here just on the north side of I-70. All of these areas under the tornado warning. That will continue until 4:30 this afternoon. Once again, if you're new to Colorado, this is our mean season. Generally starts about the middle part of May and will continue all the way through most of June. But it's right, late May, early June is the peak season for us as far as tornadoes here on the high plains. But we get plenty of severe weather. It might not be nighttime severe weather like they get in other parts of the country, but we certainly get our share of afternoon and evening severe weather. Run through those tornado safety tips once again. Get away from windows. Get to an interior room or hallway or down in the basement if you can. Get as low as possible. Get low and protect your head. That's what I've told school children for the last 40 years. And so now that you're in your 40s, now you can remember that when I came and spoke to your third grade. If you're a child in your home, mom and dad aren't home yet, they're in traffic, they're trying to get home to you, and you're feeling a little freaked out, put on your bicycle helmet, protecting your head. I don't think anything's going to happen with this. I think it's going to be a nasty thunderstorm with some hail. It might drop a tornado somewhere briefly, but if it makes you feel a little stronger, a little more secure, go ahead and do it. And if you know people that are in the path of the storm, and I will put this back up in a moment, call them or shoot them a text and say, turn on Channel 7 and watch, because they're going to talk you all the way through. where we had warnings earlier. So I'm talking about west of I-25. Those warnings have been lifted, which is great news. But all the tornado warnings remain in effect southeast part of the metro, from just south of DIA. Basically, the entrance to the terminal is right on the very northern edge of the tornado warning, extending all the way through much of eastern Aurora, Watkins. Bennett's right on the edge. You'll probably get into the next warning that comes out. And let's go back to that shot from DIA and show you what it looks like again. All right, that is a what we call an SLC, a scary-looking cloud, and indeed, a lot of activity going on in that storm front. This is what it looks like downtown Denver. I'm just going to run a little time lapse for you and show you that. This is over the course of the last 2 hours as the storm's moving. They were getting some of the rain coming in. Now, it's a new hail video they're telling me in my ear. This is coming in from Castle Rock. And look at all of that. Now, that's pretty good. Not super big, but enough that it could ding things up a little bit. The largest hail, as we're seeing indicated by radar, could be as large as golf ball size, but that's pea to marble size hail for the most part, but a lot of heavy rain coming in from it. What it will do, for sure, is really jam up the rush hour, because now everybody's getting out on the road. Some people trying to get out ahead of this. If you're on the north side of Denver, there's going to be a lot of traffic. And just all I can say is watch out for hydroplaning and watch out for, that's the way you want to drive right there. See, about 5 miles an hour. No, you want to make sure that you're not going too fast, because you lose control on this as a combination of the rain and the ice, and that can really make the road slippery. One other thing that happens is when we have not had a lot of rain, and you do get precipitation, the grease and oil and the rubber from tires emulsifies on the road and forms a really slick combination. It's like putting a Teflon or some type of a kitchen spray on the road. So you want to watch out for that, because you'll think, oh, it's just wet weather, but we haven't had that much rain lately, and that can cause some very slippery conditions to develop. So we now have an urban and small stream flood advisory in effect for east central Colorado, Elbert County, Arapahoe, and Douglas County. An urban and small stream flood advisory until 7:15. Radars indicated very heavy rain due to the thunderstorms. It's causing urban and small stream flooding. Overflowing poor drainage areas have already caused minor flooding. Up to 1.2 inches of rain have fallen. Some of the areas that may experience flooding include South Denver, Aurora, Centennial, Eastern Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, Parker, Greenwood Village, Lone Tree, Roxborough Park, Bennett, the Pinery, Arapahoe Park, Franktown, Castle Pines, Ponderosa Park, Buckley Space Force Base, Sedalia, Leviers, Foxfield, and Cherry Creek Reservoir. So, oh, look at that cloud going in. That is from Lookout Mountain. So that is looking east from Lookout Mountain. And that low scud that you see is some of the real low-level humidity that's feeding into these thunderstorms as they move across the Front Range area. And so this is just a classic situation as far as severe weather. We have cold air aloft, which brings you large hail. We have a strong jet stream that's coming in at about 25 to 30,000 feet. That gives you a lot of energy, or what we call in meteorology strong dynamics in the atmosphere. We have low-level inflow from the east, high humidity coming in, warmer temperatures farther to the east across the eastern plains feeding into the storm. So you add all of that up, and it's a five-finger punch of severe weather that's coming through here, and that's what's going to continue to roll on farther to the north. Now, it does look to me, and I'm looking at current temperatures. Actually, if you pop that up, thank you, Katie. Look at that. It's 80 right now in Lyman and 87 degrees at Lamar. And with that, that warm air is just pouring in on these east to southeast winds that are feeding in, flowing up and over the Palmer Divide and down into the Denver area. Even though it's only 57 degrees here, we have so much energy in the lower levels of the atmosphere out on the eastern plains. So the key to that is going to mean that areas that are just to the east of Denver, where they're closer to that warm air, are really going to feel this as we get the thunderstorm activity and the tornado warnings. That will continue to roll on up into central Arapahoe County, Adams County, moving on up eventually into Weld County and farther to the north. Take a look again at that great picture we had from our camera that's out at DIA. I'm going to move it slightly and just see what that might look like in different directions. So hang on just a second. Let me get to that. Okay. Here we go. It's part of our exclusive Viero camera network. Only Denver7 has 100 cameras scattered all across the Eastern Plains. They are on the communication towers for Viero Wireless, the wireless carrier out on the Eastern Plains. And so they have high definition cameras that are located all over the Eastern Plains. Now I'm looking a little bit more to the east now on this particular shot, and you'll be able to see, as it'll take it a couple of seconds before the camera begins to move, but you'll be able to see as we turn the camera a little bit more to the east, it'll come up right in here. It's kind of looking out east. See the brighter skies out there. Let me do something here. I'm going to just change this to another camera here. Kind of see behind the scenes of what we're doing. I'm going to do my little login here. And we're going to go out to Akron. I'm going to show you what it looks like out there. Even though I don't have the ability right at the moment to change the title on this, you see how the skies are much, much different out there? It's partly cloudy, and that's where the warmer temperatures are out that way. So that is helping feed into this storm, the fact we have a huge temperature contrast. Go back and show you what Denver looks like at the moment again. This is a little time lapse of Denver, and at the end here, all that low-level moisture feeding in. There's the thunderstorm activity. Can we take a look again from Lookout Mountain real quick? I'll ask upstairs. Yep, they're getting that. I'm going to get a different radar picture in here. Okay, so Lookout Mountain again, low scud clouds, that's low-level moisture feeding into this storm system and creating just a very unstable atmosphere that will continue to impact us, looks like for quite a few more hours. We're going to be doing this for a while, folks, probably right on through about 6:30, I would guess. But good news is that the western part of the Denver area, if we want to go back to the radar, is not in as bad a shape as we were a little bit ago. It looked like that thing might roll right on through downtown Denver. But the strongest of those storms now feeding off of that warmer air off to the east of us. And so the tornado warnings are in effect on the eastern side. A little lighter population out there, but still some really good people that we want to continue to warn out in the Watkins and Bennett area, out toward the new Aurora Highlands subdivision. A lot of people might not be used to the kind of weather that we get here if you've just moved here recently. And that's going to continue to move up right over DIA and probably really cause some problems there in the next hour. And then we'll continue to push up into southern Weld County. Now we have some video of hail coming in from the Parker area. Take a look at that and see what we are seeing. Oh yeah, look at that. That's coming down pretty good. Oh boy. Glad we didn't plant most of our flowers so far. I always say wait till Mother's Day, and there's a reason. Usually it would be because of the fact that we'd worry about freezing conditions, but in this case, we wait till Mother's Day, and then you would still have your tomato plants and your flowers looking pretty good. That's going to beat up an awful lot of new stuff that was planted. But, oh, look at that coming out of the swimming pool there, too. Wow. Hey, by the way, folks, when you shoot weather video for us, remember, shoot it like a TV. So if you turn your camera, your phone, don't hold it like a phone, hold it like a TV, and that way we get the right aspect ratio, and we don't have the have to blur out the sides or just have that narrow video. But we certainly thank anybody that was out there and hope you don't have a lot of damage from that hail. That's pretty dramatic stuff. I'm going to just read you some of the latest information now. This looks some good news here at 4:28. The National Weather Service has just expired the tornado warning that was in effect for Arapahoe and Douglas County. That's good news. Let me get the text for you and I'll read it out to you. All right, here we go. The tornado warning for northeastern Douglas, northwestern Elbert, and south central Arapahoe will expire right at 4:30. The storm which prompted the warning has moved out of the area, and therefore the warning will be allowed to expire. However, hail, winds, and locally heavy rain are still possible with this thunderstorm. Tornado watch remains in effect until 9 p.m. for northeastern and east central Colorado. So the good news is things are improving a little bit over some of the more heavily populated parts of our viewing area. And so the warning that was in effect down toward Heritage Eagle Bend and around Grandview High School, parts of Centennial, no longer under a tornado warning. So you can stand down a little bit. That storm has moved out of the area. The storms that are around are weaker. And so that's some great news. We continue to have the tornado warning that will expire. Both of them are expiring at 4:30, so it will be interesting to see what new warnings we get here in just the next few minutes. If we end up having these storms weaken sufficiently or move far enough out of the heavily continue to have more news-type coverage on this and not just focus on these tornado warnings. But we'll wait a bit because we're still a couple of minutes away from seeing what might happen with any new extended warnings that would go in effect for DIA and areas just to the east of DIA. A lot of great people live out on some of these larger properties out there, but the storms are beginning to ease a bit farther east of the heavily populated metro area. Of course, with the growth, a lot of new development that's gone out there, witness Reunion and also Aurora Highlands, and it's certainly built up a lot out toward the Bennett and Watkins area as well. Now, what we have coming up here now is a new warning. I think this one's going to be just a severe thunderstorm warning. You see it coming in right at the moment for Elizabeth and Kiowa and extending up toward the Elkhorn Ranch area and some of the larger properties. They're up there in northwestern Elbert County. My sense is that we will replace the tornado warning for that area with a severe thunderstorm warning, which, although it's still severe weather, it's a little bit better news for us. So that's at least one good bit of news to have this afternoon when we've had an awful lot of stuff going on that has not been great news for us. Hang on here. I'm going to look at my DIA camera again here real quick. I'm just going to move it a little bit. Tell you what, adrenaline is really something, isn't it, Katie LaSalle? Yeah, when you get all this stuff going on, it's a pretty powerful thing. So right now we're at 4:28 on my clock here, maybe 4:28 some change. So we're going to just wait and see what we get as far as any additional tornado warnings, because we don't want to leave the air and come back on the air 2 minutes later. So again, the worst of this with the hail is really heading right on toward DIA, Watkins, Bennett. Now it's the worst of it's east of E470. It is moving into lighter populated areas of Arapahoe County and Adams County. Great news for the Denver, although it's raining. Here we have much lighter precipitation, and good news for the folks up in Firestone and Frederick and Erie and Tacona. They're not seeing nearly the activity that they did last night. They sure had plenty of it last night around 11 to 11:30 last night. So as we get right to 4:30 here, I hope to see these tornado warnings maybe just turn into severe thunderstorm warnings, which would be some really excellent news. Let's see if I have anything else coming through on social here. Let's see. Well, there we go with a new something coming in. You hear the warnings going out. By the way, oh, that's good. It's a severe thunderstorm warning now for the Bennett area until 5 o'clock this afternoon. You hear that beeping sound, that beep, 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 beep. If you don't have a weather radio, they, even in this really digital age, I would highly recommend them. I'll just show you the one that we have here in the Weather Center. Okay, this is a weather radio. They're made by a company called Midland, and we've been advocating these for years, ever since we had the tornado that hit Windsor. And this will give you the weather, and it will give you the warnings anytime. So if there's a tornado warning, that signal that you heard in the background will wake you up in the night. Now, it only does a county-wide warning, which is it's a little older technology in that respect. So all of the county here for Adams County or Arapahoe County gets warned, but that's okay, because then you can check Storm Shield or other apps and zoom that warning in. This is really good stuff because it's always available. National Weather Service does a great job of the weather radios. And if you want to search one, just do a Google search for weather radio, and you'll probably see the Midland name. That's the company that I've worked with for years. Not giving them endorsements, just they specialize in making the weather radios. Here's the good news. All the tornado warnings have now been lifted. We have severe thunderstorm warnings for central Arapahoe and Adams County around the Bennett and Watkins area, as well as down farther to the south, northwestern Elbert County. Severe thunderstorm warnings for both those areas till 5 p.m. These big storms that erupted about 2.5 hours ago have gone through a pretty good life cycle now. They maybe have weakened just a bit. The overall threat remains for the possibility of severe storms and tornadoes until 9 o'clock tonight for all of eastern Colorado. So you start to see some new development out here toward Deer Trail and extending down toward the Lyman area. That's all going to kind of wind up almost like kind of a right hook here as it's coming through and spin its way east of Denver. And so we'll have a lot of concern for communities that are to the east of the metro area for the next several hours. But for right now, the immediate threat of a thunderstorm dropping a tornado has diminished a little bit. Still large hail, a lot of lightning, street flooding, and dangerous conditions from that, but at least it's a better situation than we were in just 30 or 40 minutes ago. So can we go to get a little news relief here so I can kind of take a look at the latest information coming in since the imminent tornado threat has dropped? I will toss it back to our news side of things for traffic and other information. Amy Wattis, why don't you take it away for a bit?
Yeah, of course. And we just want to let people know we just checked the flight situation at DIA right now. They are reporting 85 flight delays, 29 flight cancellations. DIA is at the top of the flight misery map on FlightAware. So flights in and out of the airport definitely are being impacted right now by these storms. And if you have family flying in or out of DIA, make sure you call ahead, and we'll continue to check in and bring you any updates as we get them. All right, and we are taking a look at some massive hail. This is Parker. Just look at that, or Castle Rock, I should say. Excuse me. Yeah, this is Castle Rock. Large hail coming down there. And yeah, it's not as big of as some of the hail Mike was describing that we can see in Colorado, like the golf ball size hail. But that hail is still, you know, a pretty decent size and can cause a nuisance for you and some dents in your vehicles. So make sure you're able to try to get those vehicles under cover if you possibly can. And now we are looking at Parker. This is hail video out of Parker, large hail. Just coming down in the area. Yeah, you don't want to be out in that. You want to have your car protected. Any other items you might have outside that you don't want to get damaged by that hail. So we're seeing hail popping up all over the metro area. So keep on sending in your videos to us. We appreciate it so we can share those to our viewers. All right, Bayan Wang, he has been out there tracking this storm. And Bayan, can you tell us where you are right now and what are you seeing on the roads?
Well, I'll tell you, we're just trying to keep up with Mike Nelson. Of course, our lovely Denver7 viewers send in all the hail pictures and the crazy storms, the rains that they're seeing. This is our view right now. You can see our windshield. We're getting light drizzles, but we're passing through the Greenwood Village area. We passed through Centennial. We got through the Lone Tree area. And of course, as soon as we get there, the tornado warnings are lifted in that area. The heavy rains stop, which is good news for the folks in this area. So now we're coming up on East Prentice Avenue right now in Greenwood Village. You can see the roads very wet as those warnings were in this area for about 30 minutes or so. So yeah, stop and go traffic that we saw on South Broadway. We're not seeing that out in this area right now. We are trying to get a little deeper into the Aurora area. We know that there's some hail reported off E470 and Quincy. So we are kind of curious to know what the traffic conditions are like out there and whether hail will still be out in the area when we get there. So good news, those tornado warnings have been lifted. Of course, there's still severe thunderstorm warnings in several regions. Yeah, Loving the view right now. Nice open roads. Of course, we know
Yeah.
that there's other parts of this area that might be a little bit more traffic. We also haven't seen too much rain build up in any of the more flatter areas, so no floodings or anything like that on our end, Amy.
Yeah, it looks like you're hitting a little bit of traffic right there, but the road so far from what we've seen from your view, it's not too bad. Just clouds, a little bit of rain. You're not hitting storms in that part of town. I know that those tornado warnings, they can expire pretty quickly and those storms can move through fast. So like you said, you're missing those. I'm curious to see what you come upon next.
Yeah, so you can see traffic stopped here, but don't worry, just a red light over here. Yeah, you know what's been really interesting is just seeing how fast the darker and heavier clouds have been moving south, kind of away from us. And for us, we go through several pockets of showers of rain, and then it stops. So E470, when we were on there about 20 minutes ago, there was some traffic buildup there. As we've kind of exited in the Centennial area, made our way through Greenwood Village, where there was that initial tornado warning about 20 minutes ago, we've been seeing traffic lighten up. We have been seeing the showers move more southeast. So yeah, just cruising through, trying to find where this hail is right now. We're headed back towards E470 in Quincy, where there have been reports of heavy hail happening in the area, drifts of hail. So if we see it, we'll bring it to you live.
All right, Bion, stay safe out there. Thanks for the updates. And if you have any tips for Bion, please send them his way or send them to us. And we do want to go back to DIA. We've been checking their flight situation there, and they are reporting about 85 flight delays, 29 flight cancellations, and DIA is at the top of the flight misery map on FlightAware. So flights in and out of the airport definitely being impacted right now. So it's not a good time to be flying in or out of DIA at this moment. But if you have family flying in or out of the airport, please call ahead. We're going to continue to check these updates for you to let you know how your flight is being impacted. We're going to go back to Mike Nelson. He's been bringing us the latest weather updates for the past, hour and a half, 2 hours. It feels like it's been going on for a while now. Mike, you've been up there just talking away.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a little bit like dog years, It's like 7 times when you have severe weather. But first of all, a couple things. I just had a chance to kind of check some email and everything, and for the numerous viewers that have said thank you for your coverage this afternoon and your calm voice during all this, that's what our goal is not people panic. We just want to let you know what's going on and get through all of this together. So we're doing okay. The main Denver metro area, conditions have calmed down quite a bit. It's a rainstorm, some lightning and thunder. Farther to the east now, this is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning out near Deer Trail. So these things are really popping off to the east of us. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning down here around the Elizabeth area. And I'm going to step back just a little bit and move the radar over. We talked about the fact that things are going to get hopping on the eastern plains. And so for our friends out by Beecher Island and Juanetta and Ray, lovely town of Ray. I spoke out at the school there a few years back. They gave a whole lot of coats to our coat drive. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning there, and that goes until 5:30 this afternoon. And a lot of warm air out on the eastern plains. We have temperatures in the 70s and 80s, so that's fueling those severe storms. And see right here, that's going to move right on up and head toward Ray. So if you're out there and you can get your vehicle covered in a garage or underneath an outdoor carport, get things inside before this storm comes in, because it's going to drop some pretty good hail, it looks like. Across the state, it's a very colorful map. We have fire weather warnings here where temperatures are near 90 degrees. In this yellow box, severe thunderstorm watch, that's valid until 9 o'clock tonight. The red box with the little orange interior, that's the tornado watch, also till 9 o'clock. You can see active severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. To the east of us, over extreme eastern Colorado, the tornado warnings are in northwest Kansas. And in the mountains, that's a winter weather advisory for tonight through early Friday for up to a foot of snow. So this is what it looks like in time lapse from our camera out at City Park over the last couple of hours as these storms have been moving across the Denver metro area. This thunder and lightning, we do not have any weather warnings in effect. You notice back here to the west, that's where the winter weather advisory is in effect. And so here it is. Wow, that is a lot of action going on. That's what springtime storms do. Winter weather advisory in the colder air and the higher elevations. Out where the air is warmer, the tornado watch, and also the severe thunderstorm watch. So our tornado warning safety tips, we've gone through these a few times, but we'll do it once again for good measure. Anytime there's a tornado warning, first thing, get away from windows. That also includes large hail, because that large hail can shatter the glass and really can hurt you. You want to get as low as possible. Get to the interior of your house, get to the lowest floor. If you have a basement, get in the basement. But if you live in like a split level where you might have an exposed part of the basement that is a walkout, don't hide there. Don't take shelter there. Get away from that sliding glass window and get to another safer part of the basement that has more earth around it. Protect your head. I oftentimes say this to the kids, that if you're home, mom and dad are trying to get home, but they're in the traffic with this storm, if you're getting a little freaked out by the severe weather, put your bike helmet on. It'll make you feel like you're doing something, and it actually would protect you if things started flying around because there was a tornado touchdown or large hail in the area. So protect your head. Text or call people that are in, and you can see the warnings I'm showing you here on the insert here. If you know people that are in these warned areas, not everybody's necessarily watching TV. So if you're out in Ray right now in the Eastern Plains and you know somebody, or you know somebody that lives in Ray, call them or shoot them a text and say, hey, turn on the TV right now because we have some heavy weather moving in. If you are in central Adams or Arapahoe County, call somebody or send them a text and say, turn on Channel 7, and we'll stay calm, we'll stay together, and we'll stay tuned to getting us through all of this severe weather. We'll just roll it on again. Here we go. So let me explain the synoptics. That's a fancy term for the meteorology. Well, that's kind of a fancy term, too. Let me explain the weather, what's going on today. All right. Warm air out here on the eastern plains, 70s, even 80s to near 90 over southeastern Colorado. An easterly surface wind is feeding in to this storm front. Back to the west, that's winter weather advisory, so we have colder air there. And aloft, we have cold air and a strong jet stream that's spinning over Colorado. That's a combination of the air coming in here, that's upslope winds. We also have air coming in from the west out here. That gives us a convergence line right along I-25. And so with that, we're getting thunderstorms. They're not only strong, they're spinning a little bit. And when those storms spin, think about a figure skater. Katie, come in here real quick. A figure skater, Katie LaSalle, you may not know this, along with a very good broadcaster. She actually is a competitive figure skater. So Katie, come here. You're going to spin for me. All right, come in. So you put your arms out wide, all right? So you're spinning kind of slow, right? And then what happens with the tornado is it starts to spin faster. Bring your arms in and spin faster. Look at that. Amazing. Before the knee replacements, I could do that half that speed, but that's how it all works. And we can form a tornado when you have a rotating thunderstorm. So the reason why we issued the tornado warnings earlier was because we had a big thunderstorm that's rotating very slowly, but that rotation can get going faster and faster and faster and can drop a tornado down to the ground. The one, the only, Katie LaSalle. Thank you. All right. You will not see that on any other TV station, I can tell you that much. Okay, so now this area is getting a little better. That is some snow, though, that's now falling up around the Mount Evans area, so we're starting to see the winter part of this storm. But where we did have the tornado warnings in effect, that has been fortunately lifted now, and that's great news for us. Let's see what else I have here in this sequence. I'm going to go back to the computer real quick, and we're going to check something else out as to... I'm going to go through the whole deal for you, ladies and gentlemen, because we have time. So here we go. Okay. All right, so northern part of the viewing area, thunder showers. Where we had the big hail last night, you are in a tornado watch, Firestone and Frederick and Tacoma. But right now, that's just pretty garden variety storms. The storms that are bigger are going to be farther out on the eastern plains, so they're going to be heading up into Weld County. We're right on the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning. If you're in Morgan County now, eastern sections of Adams County, That's where these storms are going to be heading next. So make your preparations ahead of time, because all of this activity is going to roll right up toward you. And if you can get vehicles protected from hail, get any plants that you put out in pots or anything like that ahead of time, get those inside, get your car in the garage, etc., before this storm comes in. Here is our future cast of what's going to happen this evening. So these are all the stronger thunderstorms. And the blue, of course, is some snow. Now we're going to get a little bit of a break mid-evening, 6 to 9 p.m., but then more heavy storms come through. I don't think at that time they will be severe. I think they'll just be heavy rain and lightning that will come through. Then we'll get more rain coming in by 3 o'clock in the morning, and even more rain coming in by 6 a.m. So we're looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain and a foot of snow above 9,500 feet in the mountains. This is what it looks like out at DIA, part of our exclusive Viero wireless camera network right now, and that's just rain coming in that area with the thunderstorm moving through. This is what it looks like downtown. So we only hit 64 officially today out at DIA. Had we managed to climb into the low 70s, probably even worse thunderstorm activity than we've had so far. And look at this, right now it's 54 and raining at the airport, 55 at our studios. The winds are out of the north-northwest at 21 miles per hour. Rain and thunderstorms this evening will stay in the 50s. And the cause of this storm is the moisture feeding in along this warm front, 90s down here to the south of us, but this low pressure system coming in from the west. And that low, as it comes in, it's swirling like this, pulling moisture in, pulling the winds, the upslope coming in here. If this storm had been a month ago, we'd be talking about winter storm warnings and a foot or more of snow in the Denver area. But we're just late enough into the season now that most of that snow is up above about 9,500 feet at the moment. So by morning, we'll be in the mid-40s, 30s in the mountains, 50s southeast Colorado and out toward Grand Junction. Front range numbers are going to be in the 30s to around 40 in the mountains and mid to upper 40s expected in the metro. Here's the map tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Still heavy rain here and heavy snow in the mountains. By midday tomorrow, it keeps going. Snow and rain in the mountains, and we'll have rain and storms on the plains. And by later in the day, it's rainy, it's cool, snow showers continue in the mountains. How much moisture? A ton of it. Look at this. Above about 9,500 feet, and especially above 10,000 feet, we are looking at anywhere from 6 to 12 to even 15 inches of snow up at Loveland Ski Area. On the plains, it's heavy rain. So the next numbers I'm going to put in there, that's liquid coming into the rain gauge if you have one out in the backyard. Look at that, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall coming up. Great news if you manage to get the fertilizer down on the yard ahead of time, because we have a lot of watering restrictions coming up for most of this spring and summer. 40s tomorrow in the mountains and low 50s, a rather unpleasant day coming up. Disagreeable, we might call it, for tomorrow. Just 53 for Denver. And where they were in the 80s to near 90 today, tomorrow just expected to be in the 70s as that low slowly moves farther to the east. So tomorrow, we still have severe storms possible southwestern Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, and the extreme eastern part, mainly Yuma County, parts of Washington County for tomorrow. Rain and mountain snow along the Front Range. Not great news heading into the weekend. The severe storm threat moves out to the east with this storm system, but we stay showery and cool on Friday. We stay showery and cool on Saturday. And unfortunately, moms, not very nice for Mother's Day either, as we'll be on the cool side of another little storm system moving in, and that means off and on rain for the next several days. On the 7-day forecast, rainy and cool, and action day again for tomorrow because of the wet roads, the mountain snow. Cool and showery, not as much rain, but still rain on Friday, maybe a little bit of sun. Weekends mainly cloudy and cool and wet in the 50s. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finally better weather coming up. Let's check the longer range forecast. Warmer than average conditions for most of Colorado and a little wetter. May is typically our wettest month of the year here along the Front Range, and that certainly is showing up in the 7-day. New warning just came out of our weather radio. So let me get there and see what we have. Oh, brand new tornado warning. I'm going to go back to the radar again and show you what's happening here. So hang on just a second, and I will read the text for you in just a second. My guess is we're going to be talking about Adams County and parts of southern Weld County, and it may not even be on the radar yet. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, all right, there we go. Okay. So it's right out around Byers. And Tornado warning for central Arapahoe and central Adams County. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. That means, again, we're looking at a rotating storm, a.k.a. like Katie LaSalle, was our rotating storm a few minutes ago, is 10 miles south of Strasburg. It is moving north at 20 miles per hour, producing golf ball-sized hail. And so this will impact Strasburg and Byers. Again, if you are in the path of this, take cover now, move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a good sturdy building. Avoid windows. And if you're outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Tornado warning in effect until 5:15, central Arapahoe and south central Adams County. Again, this is a radar indicated storm, which means we're seeing rotation of the thunderstorm. We are not actually seeing a tornado on the ground. And ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you that there are many storm chasers that are out there along either Highway 36 or Interstate 70 that are watching this storm very, very carefully. Several of them good friends of mine that have seen combined 1,200 tornadoes in their chasing career. They know what to look for. If we had a confirmed tornado touchdown, we would know about it at this time. This is a radar indicated, which means we're being precautionary on this because that rotating storm could produce a tornado on short notice. So at the moment, take your typical tornado warning procedures, and I will let you know if we actually do see a tornado touchdown. But at the moment, we do not have that. Now, we're going to zoom the radar, and we're going to show you that the main warnings now are all from Kiowa to Elizabeth to northwestern Elbert County, a little bit still hanging there with a severe thunderstorm warning down toward Wheatlands and the Southland Mall area. It's just south of there. And then extending up across fairly lightly populated areas of central Adams and Arapahoe County, but good people out there for sure on some beautiful property. Bennett, the Watkins area, extending out toward Deer Trail, although Deer Trail is not in the tornado warning, but it is in the Strasburg area. And farther to the east, our good friends out in Ray and Wanetta and down toward Beecher Island are under a severe thunderstorm warning, as well as parts of northwestern Kansas up around, southwestern Nebraska up around Imperial and to the northwest of Benkelman under severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll keep an eye on the folks out that way as well. To the west, it is snow and rain all along I-70 up to Dillon through the tunnel area, and a lot of wet weather along the Front Range. To the north, zoom it down a little bit closer, the area that just got popped so badly last night with the large hail up around Frederick and Dacono and Firestone, Erie, it's just raining. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of really big activity there because the air is a little too cool there. The storms are forming right on the edge of this large temperature contrast because it's in the 70s and 80s out on the eastern plains right now, and that's what's feeding into these storms. Here is a look at what it's looking like currently out at DIA. Looks a little better, actually, to me as we look down toward the south, and a little bit on the right side of the screen, you see a few breaks in the clouds, but it's pretty good rain coming down right at the moment. And good old weather radio going off again. Let's see what else we're going to get here. Hang on just a second. Okay, I tell you what, folks, I know that you're probably getting a little tedious listening to me yammer on for an hour and a half, but I appreciate you tuning in and trusting us during this weather event. But we have full team coverage coming up here. Ann and Shannon and all of our great reporting staff will be joining us in about a minute here to bring you all the latest. And I will get some of the latest information on, there's brand new data coming in on this storm system, and I'll give you more of that information coming up as well. So right now, we do have tornado warning and severe thunderstorm warnings east of Denver. And that good news is the worst of this seems to be heading out into lighter populated areas that we will continue to focus on. But the biggest problems we're going to have in the Denver area in the next hour, hour and a half look like it is going to be traffic and the possibility of some hydroplaning on the roads with the heavy rain that will continue as we head on into the evening hours. Let's go back to, I'm going to show you the latest radar once again. Back into the weather screen here for you. Good thing I wore comfortable shoes today. So we have snow to the west, rain, severe weather farther off to the east. That's where the warnings are currently in effect. This is Futurecast, is what we're going to see tonight. And there's a lot of rain coming up, but as the temperatures get a little colder tonight, there'll be more snow developing in the mountains to the west of us. We'll still get rain and some thunderstorms, but they'll be non-severe, but will drop a lot of rain. We're looking at the possibility of a couple of inches of rain here along the I-25 corridor. Later on tonight by 3 a.m., even though that looks alarming here on the computer simulation, that's going to be just a good old hard rain overnight, maybe a little bit of embedded thunder. And by morning, snow feet. So if you're heading west on 285 or on 70, you'll be running into some pretty sloppy road conditions. This is what it looks like. DIA looking to the south of us. As far as today, had it gotten warmer, we'd have even more big weather to talk about. We're up to 16/100ths of an inch now in the gauge out at DIA, and out at DIA currently it is 54 degrees with a raw north-northwest wind at 23 miles per hour. So it's rain and thunderstorms for this evening as this low pressure system comes into the state from the west, warm air feeding into it, instability with this storm coming in, and the result as this comes through is tonight and tomorrow we'll have heavy mountain snow, heavy rain expected on the plains. Temperatures will drop down to the 40s tonight. Won't get a lot warmer tomorrow. We're talking about only in the 50s. So here's what it looks like tomorrow morning. Still some pretty good rain coming down, wet roads. Still rain and storms on the eastern plains. Some may get severe east of the Denver area tomorrow. Mainly tomorrow is just a rainy, cool day. And as far as the amount of moisture with this storm system, check out the snow in the mountains above 9,500 feet and check out the rainfall on the plains. We have full coverage coming up right now on Denver 7 News at 5.